On the water today in Texas with kayak bass fishing national champion Dwayne Taff. And a couple days ago I posted a Facebook post of a picture of him holding the big check, the 100 grand check from the 2018 KBF National Championship, with the question, hey, I'm interviewing him, what questions would you ask? So we're gonna jump into that here in a few minutes and get into a couple other questions that I came up with, just to kind of pick his brain a little bit on his style of fishing and his approach to tournament fishing.
The jackhammer, right? The 3/8 black and blue jackhammer with the Zeko trailer, Yamamoto Zeko trailer, and the black and blue. It's one of my favorite baits to throw in this hydrilla, in this grass. You can't really see it now because the water level is about a foot high, but there is some really thick vegetation right under the surface of the water. I won't throw it in open water too much. I only throw it in heavy vegetation areas. If I'm not filling grass and not ripping it out of the grass like you would a rattle trap, I don't have confidence in it. I don't feel like, I'm gonna get the bite. So I go to where I can find the vegetation and I can rip it out. I'm constantly ripping it out, and I've caught more fish that way than anything else.
Dwayne, keep fishing, and I'm just gonna ask you some of the questions that are on this thread. Okay. First one on here that I feel like answering you, because you got people asking you for coordinates on Caddo. Yeah, we're not doing that. Brian asks, what's his tournament day routine?
Tournament day, I'm gonna get up early, a couple hours before captain's meeting or first cast, whatever it may be, and just kind of plan my day in my head. By then I've already decided where I'm going, what I'm throwing. I tie all my stuff the night before, just so I'm not in a hurry. I'm double checking knots, I'm pulling on them, making sure they're tight, double checking maps, all that kind of stuff, and I like to get to my spot early. Usually there's 30-minute lag between your launch and your first cast, so I'll just get out there and just kind of clear my head and just get ready for the day. I don't have anything real specific. I just get ready to fish, get game face on. I like to grind it out until 3 o'clock or until last cast, whatever it may be. But no, nothing special really for tournament day.
How about your pre-fishing routine? Say you're going to a spot that you may not know that well. What are the most, and I'm going to break it down to the most important 3 things to do pre-fishing.
So pre-fishing for me starts weeks, if not a month, before the tournament. I start at the computer. I start with maps, the Navionics maps, Google Earth. A tip that a lot of people don't know about, some do, is Google Earth, you can timeline back and look at reservoirs or lakes during drought times or before they even flooded them, and you can see road beds. You can see all kinds of rock piles, whatever it may be, and I'll mark those on Google Earth, and there's some software you can use to transpose that into your Lowrance. So I spend a few weeks doing that kind of stuff prior to a tournament, and then once I get to the lake, I'm usually just riding and scanning the bottom, looking. I'm going to check the spots I marked on my GPS. I'll start throwing some things a day or two out, but a day or so before the tournament, I usually will leave them alone. I may go find something else to play with or whatever, but I'm gonna let the fish, let them rest, let them stage back up wherever I was wherever I found them at, or wherever I decided I was going to start at. But that's how my pre-fishing goes, really. I've noticed in my history of tournaments, I do better when I don't pre-fish. When I go in and just fish and just relax, I actually do a little bit better. For the national championship, when I won, the area I fished both days, I'd never pre-fished. I didn't go there until the first day of the tournament, off a recommendation of a friend of mine, and it paid off.
That's a good friend.
Yeah, yeah. He went the opposite way. He's probably kicking himself now. So what I usually do is once I get a good measurement on him, you know, I'll hold onto the fish just for a second, look at my picture, make sure that I have a good dimension on him, numbers are clear, the identifier is clear, mouth shut, all the good stuff. So I'm following the rules, and I check all that stuff before I release him. But I do it as quick as possible, make sure the fish gets back in the water. So this guy here was 15 3/4, little fat bass. There he goes. One of the benefits I found to having a torpedo and not having to paddle to my location I want to fish is I can tie knots while I'm on the water. You know, if I get out here and the water's dirty, dirtier than I thought, like it is today with the runoff from all the rain we've had, and I decide I want to change colors of lures or whatever it might be, like this morning I was running late, so I'm just now tying knots. But I can do it while I'm getting there. I don't have to do it before I get on the water or once I get to my hole. I can let the torpedo do the work and I can tie knots.
So I got two questions that kind of go along the same lines. What has been the most unexpected or unanticipated occurrence since winning the national championship? And someone else just asked how it's changed your life. You know, I think there was a lot of talk about, hey, this amount of money and this prestige of winning this title is going to be a life changer for somebody.
Right.
You know, I think somebody else asked, you know, how has it changed you? And you know, just from knowing you, I know that you are who you are.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a different person because you get a big tournament win.
So.
But
you know,
what's the last year been like since winning that?
It's been pretty cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've got to experience a lot of things that I didn't think I would get to experience. You know, I've met a lot of people. Probably the biggest thing I had to get used to was people recognizing me. You know, when I go to the local Austin Canoe and Kayak or Fish Tackle Unlimited, whatever it may be, Bass Pro Shop. You know, a lot of times I'll have somebody come up and say, "Hey, aren't you that guy?" Yeah, you know, I'm that guy. I don't feel like it's changed me any. I'm fortunate. I built a career in the chemical industry before I won the tournament. So financially, it didn't change me a lot. You know, and my personality, I think it is what it is. You know, I don't feel like it's changed me any. I still love to talk to people. I don't have anybody that's not a friend. I don't, I'm approachable. Anybody wants to ask questions, call me and ask. Send me a message and ask. Most people will tell you, I'll answer them for you. I'll tell you where I'm fishing and how I'm doing it. Unless it's tournament day. So, yeah, I mean, really the only thing that's changed for me is that, just being recognized is kind of weird, My Facebook friends grew substantially over the last year. It's pretty crazy. I'm pretty blessed to have the opportunity to fish like I do and to actually win that tournament. I'm still blown away at it. It's still not real some days.
Jake Harshman asks a pretty insightful question here. Going into the last day, what was his mindset? How did he intend on attacking the day? And how did he prepare for the tournament? Pre-fished a lot or spent more time charting and plotting? He sort of addressed that last part with the earlier question, but going into the last day, what was your mindset and how did you intend on attacking the day?
Backing up to day one, I caught all my fish on a 100-yard stretch of bank right off the Cumberland River, the south end of Barkley, where the river comes into the lake. It's not a big secret. A lot of people know where it's at. You know, I found all the fish early. You know, like I said, I didn't pre-fish, so we went to that area and I started fishing that stretch of bank, and I had my 5 fish fairly quick. I actually upgraded a couple of times. And out of habit, you know, I try not to look at the leaderboard, but I wasn't sure about cell service and I wasn't sure if my fish were going through right. So I opened the leaderboard just to make sure that my fish were going through. And I showed, you know, that I was sitting in first place, pretty far off in first place. And I knew that there was some sleepers. I knew that there was some people without service because I hadn't had service all week in some of the parts. So knowing that, I was sitting in first, and I told myself, man, if you could just be sitting in the top 10 or something going into day 2, you have a shot at it, even the top percentage. So about 11:30 or so, I left that area and hoping that the fish were going to stage back up in that area on that stretch of bank overnight. So my game plan going into day 2 was to hit that same stretch of bank. I was going to start at the end point there and work my way just like I did day 1, and hope they were there. And so I got on the water early. I didn't sleep a lot, you know, the night before. I was pretty nervous. I was stoked to even be, you know, near any kind of money on the tournament. So I went back to that point. I got there still dark. First cast I think was like 6:30. I threw out. And my first cast, I caught a 22.5-inch fish. So my nerves calmed down pretty good, and I was able to get in the zone and just fish the rest of the day out. And I had all my fish fairly quick again, but there were smaller fish day 2. So I had to grind a little bit, but I finally was able to upgrade the last 2. I upgraded a 12-inch to a 14-inch fish partway through the day, about lunchtime or so. And I actually won by 1 3/4, so that was the winning fish. But yeah, it was kind of an out-of-body experience, man. It was pretty neat. Driving
back, did you what was your thought process like? Hey, maybe I do have this in the bag, or who else is out there that?
So
like what?
Actually, you know, the camera crew. And Gene Jensen of Fluke-Master was with Kurt Smits, the year before's champion, the 2017 champion. And I didn't know, but he was in the same area as me fishing. So I ran into him. When I left the fish 11:30 day 1, I actually ran into those guys. And they looked at the leaderboard and said, man, you're sitting in second place right now. You know, how you feeling? I said, well, I know where the fish are. You know, I was pretty confident that I knew where they were. I knew they were going to be there day 2. I was hoping anyways. So I told Gene that day, I know where the fish are at. I'm pretty sure they're going to be there in the morning. He said, well, I'm going to bring the camera crew back to you, and we're going to film you. So on day 2, or at that evening, at the captain's meeting, Chad changed the plans and told the camera crew to go with somebody else. He told, you know, I ended up in 5th place overall day 1. And he told the camera crew to follow the leaders, so they did. And about halfway through the day, Gene and the camera crew came back and found me because I was sitting like 18, 20 inches in the lead at that time. So when it was over, when we got back to the boat launch, you know, I was pretty stoked. They had shut the leaderboard off, so I really didn't know, but I knew I was in the lead pretty good. Well, Gene actually mentioned to me, he said, man, hold up that bait, that chatterbait, you know, that jackhammer you're using. So I held it up. He said, I'm going to take a picture of the winner. You know, that's the winning bait right there. I said, man, you think I really won? He said, yeah, I think you really won, you know. So, you know, it was kind of sunk in a little bit right there. I was like, man, maybe I do have a chance at this. Maybe I do have a shot. So I had people coming up asking for autographs right after I got off the water. People wanting to take pictures, man. It was pretty crazy, you know. It was so I mean, I had a feeling. I knew I was in the top somewhere, unless somebody was really holding on to some big fish. I knew that I was in the top 5 at least. So yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I had a feeling. I didn't know for sure until Sunday. They made us wait until Sunday. Took a top 10 back to the room, and then they called us out one by one, you know, and myself and Cody Stewart were last two. So I knew it was one of us. It was that room was pretty intense. That's the final 10 in there.
Nice. Well, congratulations again. That's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm sure I do appreciate you sharing that with us. So Dwayne, you've been using the Torpedo for, you got it what, a month or two after the KBF National Championship?
Yeah, about a month. Yeah.
How has it changed how you're fishing?
So it changed the way I approach a lake, or you know, I would have to, you know, when I paddled, I would have to find a launch and then try to figure out within that proximity paddling distance that I could fish. You know, it had to be somewhere where I wasn't going to paddle for an hour and lose fishing time, especially during a tournament. So what it's done for me is it's opened the lake up. I can now study maps even more, find points, ledges, whatever it may be, and then find a launch somewhere close to it. You know, it opened up the entire lake to me. I have so much more access to everything. It's completely changed the way I approach things. That's funny. Jamie called and said, "Hey, if you catch any monsters, let me know." So we got a decent fish, 5 pounds, 9 ounces. I haven't measured her yet, but pretty good fish. She hit the white chatterbait jackhammer. I was bringing it through some dead lily pads and kind of bouncing it like you would a jig and pulling it kind of hard off the bottom, and she kind of hit it right as it got to the top. You know, I saw the bait and I watched her come up and grab it coming off the top of the lily pad. So it's pretty neat to see her hit it. She's pretty long. She got a big old mouth on her. She is 22.5 inches. That's about the size of the one I caught in the National Championship. So, trying to get a good picture of her. She's nice and calm right now. I got her mouth shut. She's not quite hitting the 22.5 mark here. There she goes. So again, you know, I check the pick, make sure I got a good pick of her. Looks like a good pick. You see the lines, see the dimensions, see the identifier, everything's pretty clear. So she has done her job, and I'm going to put her back in the water. There she is. Big fish of the day so far. 5 pounds, 9 ounces, 22.5 inches. It's pretty close to the exact same fish I caught at the National Championship on day 2, 22.5 inches. So she served her purpose, and we're going to get her back in the water now.
So Dwayne, we're a couple months away from the 2019 Kayak Bass Fishing National Championship, and that's going to be held, what, about 4-hour drive away from where you live?
Yeah, it's about 4-hour drive, maybe 4.5, depending on which lake you're going to fish. You know, the tournament headquarters is at the casino, which is in Bossier, so yeah, 4.5 hours.
So you have some experience on those waters?
I do have experience on Caddo. I don't have much experience on the other ones, on Bistineau or Wallace or any of them.
Right.
I plan on getting some here shortly. But, you know, in Caddo, June of 2017, there was a KBF trail there. It was held by Adam Harbuck of Harbuck Outdoors. And I went up there and fished and ended up getting a high enough place where I qualified for the 2018 National Championship. So I am familiar with the waters. I'm excited to get back up there. It's a lot like this. It's a swamp. It's definitely my element for sure. I mean, if I had to pick one place to fish, this would be it.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what are the major forage base of, you know, I'd say Caddo, but like it's so many different places to pick from.
Yeah, they're all different. Bistineau and Caddo are a lot the same. Wallace is a little bit different. The Red River obviously is going to be totally different than what we're used to. But you know, it's a swamp area. There is some shad forage up there and stuff, whatever. But it's mainly brim, perch, and stuff like that. Your bigger fish are they're feeding on the brim. So I can see on this side imagery here, once I get around these cypress trees, which is going to be a lot like Caddo, there's beds everywhere. Some are bass, but most of them are brim beds. So they feed on them brim pretty heavy.
Hey Dwayne, I appreciate you taking me out on some of your home water.
It's my honor.
Caught some good fish, and
it was awesome. I had a good time.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
We'll do it again.